Greetings and welcome to another episode of Shop Talk down here at Page 3's Game Zone. I'm Nathan Varney.
And I'm Aaron Sawyers.
And today we're going to be taking a look at JLA, or Justice League of America, #1 by DC Comics. It will be on sale on Wednesday, June the 17th, 2015.
You mean it's not July? I thought it was just July.
Almost. Never mind. Moving on. Primary writing on this book, Brian Hitch. And primary art,
that one guy.
Completely missing.
Artist.
Inks, colors.
Artist.
It's buried. Anyway, Brian Hitch is the writer. A whole host of people. Henriquez, Von Grawbadger, Curry, and Sinclair all teamed up on that. We'll just go ahead and move right on.
Art by that one guy.
Yeah, that's a shame that they didn't put it clearly. We've got inks and colors, but no pencils. Huh. Anyways, it's irrelevant. So, well, it's not irrelevant because it's very good art. So,
yes.
whoever the credit is due to, I tip my hat, and I've got a hat to tip. Aaron pretends like he has one. All right, this is a huge book.
Oh God, yeah.
As far as there's a lot in this book. It starts out, the members of the Justice League have received invitations.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it starts out with the Superman, like, exploding and then floating in space, and you hear people talking, and...
I've completely glossed over the first 3 pages of the book.
I know, right? That's not an important thing.
Yeah,
It's okay.
No. Yes. Thank you, Aaron, for the assist.
Fine. You're welcome, Nathan.
But yes, so they have some conversation. You hear this conversation, excuse me,
That's
while he's floating through space, and it's conversation that you hear again later in the book.
Yeah, it's you hear people talking, saying that not to overreact, and then they start saying, "Oh, here comes another one," and
as it turns out, it's Superman conversing with some other characters later in the book.
Yep, you start seeing the Infinity Gem. I mean, these glowing stones,
the Forever Stones.
the Forever Stones.
Yes,
There's a red, blue, and yellow stones.
Infinity Gems.
I'm sorry,
wrong book.
Oops.
But anyway, but the Justice League receive invitations to the Infinity Corporation. This event at the Infinity Corporation, and
which nobody's heard of.
Right. They all respond to this. Superman he goes like one of the invitations, it turns out, was lead foil lined, and Superman's X-ray vision could see
everything. It couldn't see through the lead, so it was foil lined with the S.
With the S in there. So, as a way to discreetly invite Superman and not just Clark Kent.
Yeah. So,
and
I like that Lois is like, it's 7 o'clock. How are you going to get there? He's like, I'm going to fly, Lois.
Yeah. So, Superman goes. He is met by 2 people here, and they bring him into this room. This is where the conversation that is from the first couple of pages comes back into play. The woman is trying to prepare Superman for what he's about to walk in and see, which is a room full of dead Supermans.
Which I could see him overreacting.
I'd probably wig out on that.
I would probably wig out to see a room full of dead Aarons. I'd be like, all right, what's going on here?
Well, for anybody that watched our Daily Deals episodes from last summer and fall, that would have been a thing.
It's basically the same thing.
Because we killed you as often as we could last summer.
That's true.
We do still have a room full of dead...
What?
Moving on. Room full of dead Supermans.
Supermans, of course.
Come to think of it. Room full of dead Supermans. Room full of dead Aarons.
I don't like where this is going. I can tell you that much.
I bet Brian Hitch got his idea from this.
Stolen ideas from Page 3 Game Zone.
from this room full of dead errands that I've got.
We would like our royalty, please. Royalty. There we go. I'll say it right.
Without police interference, though.
Of course.
I don't want to deal with that.
No.
All right.
Let's skip the paperwork. Just give us the money.
Anyway, so they tell Superman that if they tell him, well, you're going to die, and of course Superman eventually is like, well, duh, everybody's going to die, but they tell Superman he's going to die, and when he does, everything and everyone dies.
Yep.
So basically, everything, all timelines, all universes are gonna die when Superman dies.
Yep. And a semi-dead Superman appears. They tell him to watch out. There's one coming through, and he's saying what? And this semi-dead Superman appears, and he goes over to look, and it's starting to die. And the Superman whispers, "Don't trust him."
Right. So, but who him is
was never told.
Maybe it's the scientist dude here.
Yeah. And they even suggest that after he says he tells them that it.
Sorry.
He tells the scientist it told him not to trust him, and he's asking who's him, and he says, "Is it me?" He said, "Maybe."
Right. My suspicion is that it's the character that is revealed at the end of the book, and we'll get there in just a second.
as is mine.
Okay. All right. Well, the rest of as this is going on, the Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and eventually Cyborg,
yep,
converge at their responding to their invitations, and
at a different location.
At a power plant.
Yep.
And are jumped by Parasite,
which was left there by someone disguised as a security guard.
Broke him out of the mall. And left him there.
Yeah. And ends up it was a member of this Infinity Corps.
Yes. So Parasite just goes to town. I mean, he beats the crap out of the Justice League.
Lord. Absorbing Green Lantern's powers. He absorbs the Speed Force from
the Flash.
He eats. He eat Wonder Woman, and Superman busts her out.
Which is when Superman arrives, yes.
Yeah. And she's hearing voices now. Screaming about voices.
Yeah, so she's losing her mind. And then she vanishes.
Yeah.
Hal Jordan and Green Lantern and Flash, it's Hal, are disappear into a wormhole.
Yeah. Yeah, the ring does emergency
evacuation.
Yep.
Yep. And as it is about to transport Green Lantern, Flash, of course.
Flash is coming back around
the world,
and he's telling Superman to catch him,
but Superman misses something like.
I don't think he wasn't hearing him. I don't know if
he
wasn't hearing him right or something. But so I guess Flash goes through the portal with them, and the last thing you hear is foreign interference, and then they're gone.
So you're left with Batman, Cyborg, and
Superman.
Superman takes care of Parasite as only Superman can in this case.
Occupies him for a moment.
While Batman and Cyborg go inside to
start the generate,
get
the power plant.
Get the power plant online.
Yeah.
They end up sucking connecting Parasite directly into the mainframe to drain him of all the power he'd absorbed.
Yeah.
Where he can convert it directly into energy. So they suck all that energy back out of him, get him back down to normal size and very weak.
And they create a clean energy for the rest of Metropolis' life. The end.
Oh, God. Oh, that would be a great and awful book at the same time.
I know, right? No, they do power Metropolis, and it shows Metropolis basically glowing with
yes,
light.
Like really light up.
And Parasite is now this shriveling little thing again, saying it's cold.
Just here, just about wraps up the book, and I don't want to glaze over one other part that's going on in the book, because the only other member of the Justice League that we've not accounted for so far here is Aquaman.
Oh, yes.
And he goes to this summit over... Basically, the world is trying to negotiate with Atlantis for Atlantean technology.
Yeah.
And Aquaman, of course, speaking on behalf of Atlantis, says no.
Yeah.
Basically, they beg.
Well, they said, what was it? What if Atlantis attacks? And he tells them, you've already said that your technology is less than ours and we're more advanced. What do you have that we would want to attack?
Yeah.
And he said, as long as you leave Atlantis alone, we will have no issue.
And well, then of course they kind of respond with, well, how do we know that that you'll stand by that? And he's basically like, well, you don't.
You don't. Yeah.
So anyway, so Aquaman though, then when he gets back to Atlantis, he goes back to an abandoned temple.
Yeah, he gets I guess a telepathic message.
Yes, that he has to leave immediately.
Yeah.
When he gets there, he is talking about Ares.
Yeah.
And then he meets with someone that's glowing.
Yeah. Someone with a big staff.
Yes.
That is glowing.
Don't know who it is though.
No, but they mentioned that all the other gods are basically useless anymore, and the true god has arrived.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
So so now we'll jump back to the end of the book here. Now we've jumped around a little bit. The book does not feel this. I did not feel like the book felt this choppy. I know we're jumping around a lot.
No. Meanwhile, back at Superman.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the whole Justice. The very end of the book, Superman is this giant space station ship that's shaped like a sword.
Well, he takes Batman and Cyborg to where the Infinity Corp was.
Yes.
And now it's like an empty construction site.
Right.
And he's saying...
Just basically almost minutes later, maybe an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Infinity Corp is gone.
Yeah, and he mentions that, he had never heard of Infinity Corp, and Batman's like, well, me neither. And he's like, that's unsettling. And Batman's like,
yes, it is. So then they look up, and there's this huge craft.
Yeah.
Superman, kind of wigs out a little bit, in a almost giddy kind of way, because he's like, oh my gosh, it's him. It's him.
I thought he was Legend. And then he starts to fly up.
Sorry about the coughing.
He starts to fly up in that arms wide open pose, and it kind of goes around and shows what's inside this spaceship, and it's this big red beam, and he says, I am Ro. I think that's how you pronounce it, R-A-O.
Yeah, Ro or Ro, yeah.
Ro.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I'm here, I believe is what the words, that exact word. I'm going to get the exact quote to you.
Yeah,
I am the great god Ra, and I've come to save you.
And that's the end of the issue.
And that's the final
So,
words.
The sun god from
Krypton.
Krypton, from traditional Krypton, has arrived on Earth.
Which I guess is why Superman recognizes him. So
yeah,
he has come to Earth for some reason, and my suspicion is that's who the other Superman says not to trust.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we had mentioned earlier. So
I could be misled, but
my goodness,
I have a feeling.
Yeah,
but I liked it. I really did.
This is good. This is why you read Justice League. You've got the 7 heavy hitters from DC Comics, which is what Justice League should be. If you want to give this character or that character a break once in a while, I get that's all good and well, but man, Brian Hitch grabs a hold of this first issue and does it well. It's certainly, I can't speak from experience from writing a comic book, but from having many years experience of reading, not just anybody can sit down and write this team of characters, this group of personalities into a good story,
into a seamless storyline. Like
yes. So a great job.
Yeah.
It cannot be easy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, just anybody could, and just anybody has not been able to over the years. You know, I mean, Justice League has been around for a long time in various and sundry incarnations. So, Brian Hitch, great job. Great job.
I've mentioned before, I'm not the biggest DC fan. I don't have any problem with DC. I like some of the characters, but I'm more of a Marvel fan. But I've really enjoyed this. It's good to see them all together, and like I said, a good seamless storyline. It's all combining together, and they've definitely piqued my interest. I'm ready to go, and I just noticed like Superman's flying into the sun on this cover.
On the cover, yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with the Atlantis, with the Atlantean technology. Who was the guy? Who was the person? The man or woman? The character.
Guy, but yeah, the person.
That was the Aquaman met down in Atlantis. How are things going to go? How is the world basically going to respond to, Atlantis not being willing to share, so to speak, with their technology?
Yeah. And I guess we kind of glossed over it, but when they were talking about Superman dying, he was asking, he was like, why'd you bring me here? And he's like, we're trying to prevent this. And he's like, well, what do you want me to do? And they say, we just wanted to let you know. Maybe you could be a little more safer now. He's telling him that he wasn't going to hide. He's going to save people. So they're just hoping that maybe telling him they can change events. They say it's more like an ocean than a river.
Yeah, the timeline is more like an ocean than a river, yeah. As Rao was appearing, like people's cell phones and everything, like he started, basically projecting his voice. His cell phones were saying, "Do not be afraid.
Do not be afraid.
Do not hide.
Do not hide." Yeah.
You think that? I think that may be even a little more of a reason to think that maybe that's the don't trust. Just a little bit of dropping there with from Brian Hitch.
Yep.
From Superman saying, well, I'm not going to hide.
Yep.
And then they come back later and say, Rao's like, oh, don't hide.
Awful suspicious.
Yeah. So, we'll just have to see.
Yep.
Issue 2 is going to be hopefully, issue 1 was a doozy.
Indeed.
So, great art and great story.
Loved it.
I'll give it 2 Atlantean tridents up.
I give it 2 green things and speedy things up.
All right. Well, anything else before we wrap up?
Oh, good art, good book. Definitely read it.
All right. Yep. Take a check out here. First issue in the new JLA series in the new 52. And thanks for watching another episode of Shop Talk down here at Page 3's Game Zone. And we'll see you next time.
Meanwhile, at the Batcave.